It's been about 6 months since my last Hermes collection video, but I thought I'd do an updated state of the collection post here because a lot has changed since then. Hermes is my most collected bag brand, and so a lot of things come and go, especially since it's hard to try them on in the store. Hi, and if you're new here, my name is Elaine, and on my channel, I like to talk about bags from mid-range to vintage luxury. And most of my Hermes bags are vintage, except for a select few here, but let's get right into it. So I might as well start with these two. Since I did do a full first collection video, the ones that are the same from that last video, I'm just gonna kind of breeze right through them, and then I'll maybe focus on the things that left my collection and the things that were added into my collection and why. So first off, I do have a Picotin 22 in E2 in Clemence leather. I have multiple videos on this. I also did a comprehensive Picotin comparison review, especially since I do have the Picotin 18 cargo. This is in black and with gold hardware in canvas and lined in Swift, I think, yes. Use both quite a bit. I love both of them. I used to also have a in the loop bag in that last collection video, which was in gold. That has since been sold. For me personally, I think the Picotin is a cuter bag. It's about the same to carry. They're both sort of bucket bags made out of soft leather. Well, mine was in Clemence. As much as I love the Chandon motif, I didn't love it as much as I did the Picotin. Also, I realized gold is really not my color. I'm much more of a cool toned kind of gal. I like my bags to be not as yellowish, orangish. Though I still have quite a bit of gold in my collection. Yeah, the Picotin, use both. Check out my Picotin comparison video if you want more details about them. And another one that I have multiples of is the Garden Party, which I have yet to do a comparison review. So that is on my list of videos that I would like to put out there. But I have the Neo Garden Party 23 in the color Vert Mangrove and a canvas. Got this one in Hawaii last summer. Love it. It's a great size. It does fit quite a bit, even though it's pretty small. And I do also have a strap that I bought from a third-party vendor. Use this bag quite a bit because I do have that strap for my shoulder. I don't use my other Garden Parties as often because I don't really turn them into shoulder bags. Theoretically, I could with using the same sort of system since all Garden Parties have that snap closure. But yes, this is a Swift Garden Party in the color Havana. I do have an organizer in there, but this is the twilly version. So there's silk, it's silk lined with a Swift exterior. It's vintage. It's rare. Most Garden Parties, this is the Garden Party 30. So that's the TPM size. This is the TTPM. I don't remember. 23, 30, 36. But this one is in Swift leather, so it's actually quite a bit lighter than the Garden Parties that are in Naganda or Country leather, which is the pebbled leather. This is a smooth leather version, and Swift in general tends to be on the lighter side. I don't use it as often because I can't put it over my shoulder. It is strictly top handle or crook of the arm carry only. I probably would never get rid of that. And then this is the Garden Party 36 in chocolate canvas with buffalo trim, and I do also have an organizer on the inside. But I think both of these organizers I actually bought for my Birkins, or what used to be my Birkins, both which I have sold. So both the 35 and the 30, which are the only ones in my collection. I just realized like the Birkin, as iconic as that bag is just not as useful to me, especially since I can't really do top handle only bags. Between the Garden Party and the Birkin, to me the Garden Party is a lot more practical because it is lighter in weight. So I really don't like heavy bags. Birkins are heavy bags with a lot of hardware. But if I'm going to have basically a tote that's top handle only from Hermes, my choice obviously is the Garden Party. So anyway, so these are the organizers that I did have in the Birkin, which I now have in the Garden Parties because they're pretty much comparable in size. Garden Party 30 has the same organizer that I had bought for my Birkin 30. And my Garden Party 36 has the organizer that fit into my Birkin 35. I did also talk about these bags in my last Hermes collection video because I had it back then as well. I usually store my garden parties by nesting them. I also do advise leaving the snaps open when you're storing them, especially the one in Swift. The garden party in Swift, I've seen with time, one, it can deform or misshapen the leather, and two, it can also sort of, well, with the canvas ones, the snaps can start coming off of the canvas. I always leave it stored with the snaps open, and I just nest it, and voila, my garden party collection. Next, so like I said, I do still have some gold bags in my collection. This is a gold Epsom Plume 28 Elan, so it's elongated. When I did my last collection video, I had 3 plumes, and now I'm down to 1. So I've actually sold the other 2, or I sold one. I sold the mini to a friend, and then I sold the 32 to the Real, but I'm actually in the process of taking it back because I kind of changed my mind. But anyway, so we'll see. That's coming back, but I do not have it here right now. I also do have a Roulis 24. So I used to have a Constance 24, the vintage one in chocolate box. And I did do a Roulis 24 versus Constance 24 review here. Out of the two, I like the Roulis. I'm just really not a huge fan of the big H in the front. I rarely use the Roulis as it is, so it really didn't make sense for me to have both. So I sold the Constance, did not lose money on that, which is nice. And then keeping the Roulis for now. This was in my worst cost per wear video, but yeah, I mean, I still love it, so I'm keeping it. And I have my Lindy 30 here. When I did my last video, I had a Lindy 26 and Swift Nata, which I have since sold to the Real. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of the Swift on a Lindy. It just doesn't smush the same way as the Clemence does. So I'm not opposed to getting another Lindy 26 or even mini Lindy possibly in Clemence, but for now, I mean, those prices are crazy. So I'm not really looking forward to, I don't really want it that bad. Since I do have this 30, the 30 is just marginally bigger than the 26, but it is heavier, or especially this Clemence one was a lot heavier than the Swift. I don't think I did a comparison video before I shipped it off, but there are a lot of videos about the Lindys, so, I'm sure there's a plethora of information out there. But yeah, this is my oldest, is it? Yes, is it my first? Yes, technically. Well, I did have an Evelyn 29 in Clemence that I did sell, and I think that was my first, but this was probably my second, and the Roulis 24 was my third, which is an interesting way to start an Hermes collection, but, I like what I like. So yeah, never letting this one go. It was one of my very first Hermes bags. I mean, it's kind of a classic. Looks great, just gets better with age. And speaking of the Evelyn, I actually did repurchase an Evelyn 29 back into my collection, but this one, I purchased it because it is in Burlingo, which is the old heritage, sort of like saddle leather, very smooth, very prone to scratching. And of course, if it does get wet, it gets discolored it gets darker for the moment, but then once it dries, it goes right back. You actually don't see it anymore. So I actually really like Burlingo, much like box, people say box leather is very finicky and scratches easily, which is true, but it also is easier to buff out box. And Burlingo, actually, the scratches aren't, I wouldn't say they buff out, but they aren't as bad, or I think it actually adds to the character of the bag. This is an Evelyn 1, so there's no pocket in the back. It came also with a crossbody strap that was not adjustable. I actually prefer the Evelyn 29 to be a shoulder bag, so I have this shoulder strap that I bought from a third-party vendor from Etsy. I'll list it down below. But yes, I prefer my Evelyn's to be a shoulder bag. I think it's a good size for that. And then Vespa. This is a chocolate Vespa in buffalo leather. When I restarted my Hermes collection, this was the bag that kind of reignited my Hermes addiction, my Hermes passion. I had originally purchased a couple of Hermes bags like the Lindy and the Roulis, and then I kind of just stopped for like 5 or 6 years, and I didn't buy a Hermes bag for a really long time. And then I bought this vintage one off of Japanese eBay, and then I don't know what happened, but I just went all in, and now Hermes makes up the bulk of my collection. But yes, so these two, very similar as you can see. So this was basically, the Vespa was the predecessor of the Evelyn in a sense. You know, it's basically the same style. The only thing about the Vespa, of course, it has this beautiful, you know, gold chunky hardware. Doesn't really tarnish. It is a really, really nice piece of hardware, especially if you don't really like the perforated H design, then this is a great design. The only thing is that the Vespa doesn't have removable straps, and it's also just a set length. I'm 5'4", and it hits at a good spot for me right on the hip. It's like a good length, but you know, if you're taller or shorter, it's a little bit harder to work with. And you know, it is a little bit harder for me to turn this into a shoulder bag. Like I could just tuck the strap in, and I've tried it before, but it just doesn't look as clean as the Evelyn as a shoulder bag. So I have considered taking this into Hermes and asking them to like remove the strap and then adding a actual, you know, buying one of their straps custom made, but I mean, that's a lot. So as it stands, I don't really use these bags too often these days. This is more of like a north-south style, and I'm really in a east-west shoulder bag era, but you know, still really love these, and permanent additions to my collection. And my two Kellys. So I may not be a Birkin gal, but I'm definitely more of a Kelly gal. And so in my last video, I had this one still in my collection, of course. It's the navy box Kelly 28 retourné style. But this one was actually at the spa at the time. This was at the spa for 10 months because I had changed out the handle. So this is from 1969, but I changed it to from a Kelly 1 to a Kelly 2 by adding handles that have these D-rings. So that technically makes it a Kelly 2. Personally, I like the extra D-ring because what ends up happening is if you do clip a shoulder strap to the rings that the handles are on, eventually the handles are going to knock forward, which is what had happened to this bag. So I had them change it out. You know, it's some purists might say that's not a great idea. What I also didn't realize though is if by changing out these handles and changing the hardware on this, they had to, I guess, change out all the other hardware. So as you can see, this one still has its stickers on. Maybe I should take it off soon. I am definitely one to take the stickers off right away most of the time because I have seen some bags where you leave the stickers on and it discolors the hardware. I have yet to use it. I really need to use it because if you saw my worst cost per wear video, this is the worst cost per wear because one, it was sitting, or it was at the spa for 10 months, so I never really used it. And two, having gone to the spa, it added about $2,500 in its value or its cost. And so the cost went up where it was basically zero. And so now it's the worst cost per wear bag in my closet. I will work on that. I will take this out soon. So those are my two Kellys, and I'm not sure if I had the Petite Arson in the last video. I might have had one. I definitely didn't have this one. So this one I got in December, so I know it wasn't part of that video. So I have two Petite Arsons, one in a taupe, one in a cray, both Togo with Swift trim. And I really actually use this bag quite a bit, which is what kind of justified buying the second one. Though really the second one I haven't used as much because I am a little more worried about color transfer. It is a great versatile bag because it can be both a crossbody or shoulder bag. But you know, it fits the essentials. I did do a slim versus Petite Arson video. The slim Arson is listed right now at the Real has been sitting, which I kind of understand because it's not a very practical bag. I kind of wish when I had asked for the Petite Arson, I wish I hadn't caved and gone with the slim when I kind of knew the slim wasn't going to work. I think I was just very optimistic about it. That experience has kind of, I wouldn't say soured, but it definitely has tempered my enthusiasm for going into the Hermes store and trying to build up an account. Like I kind of don't care anymore, especially since I'm not gunning for a Birkin or a Kelly right now. So yeah, I've basically stopped going, but I think maybe things would have been a little bit different if I had asked for a Petite Arson and I did get a Petite Arson, which, you know, turns out I do love it. Things, yeah, might have been a little different. And if you're still watching and maybe have seen some of my other videos in the past, I kindly ask that you consider subscribing since it really helps support this channel. Thank you. So, talk about my toolboxes. All right, and I'm not sure if this showed up in my last video as well, but I had maybe the Toolbox 26. I had gotten that first from the Real for a decent price, but I don't really use it because it's so much heavier and bigger than the Toolbox 20s, which now, as you can see, I have 2 of. So I would say my top most used bags from Hermes are probably the Toolboxes and the Petite Arsons. Like with those 4, I'm basically covered for sort of any event. You know, if I need to carry a little bit more, I'll take the Toolbox. If I can go get away with a little bit less, I'll carry the Petite Arson. So basically those are the staples of my collection. But anyways, this Toolbox 20 I got from Japanese eBay from Brandier, shipped to me for a decent price. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this probably showed up in my last post. But this is brand new to my collection, still vintage, still old, but I got this one at Osaka in Japan. So if you want to check out my Japan haul part 1, yeah, that's when I got this one. Love both. This is in the color Green Pearl. This is in the color Glycine, which means wisteria. And obviously this is black. Capacity wise, I love the Toolbox. Ease of use, you know, very comfortable shoulder strap. You know, you can open it up and then it just opens up real wide. Super easy to open, no sangles to deal with. Those are my Toolboxes. These also probably showed up in the last video. This is a Gao bag in Berenia and canvas. As you can see, the canvas, I don't know if you can see it, but the canvas is actually a little bit discolored. But it's a great summer bag. Yeah, it kind of gives that prep vibe, but it's also still a hobo, which is very on trend. I bought this because originally I really wanted Berenia. This was before I bought my Evelyn 29. So this one has Berenia trim. So the bottom here is all Berenia, as well as the handle. I did also have a Togo Gao bag, which was beautiful, but it was definitely on the heavier side, which I did sell to someone through my Instagram closet sale page. And I hope they are enjoying it. It was a really beautiful bag. I was a little bit sad to let it go, but I never used it because it was heavy. And then once I got this one's so much lighter because of the canvas. In all honesty, I don't use it very much because it is canvas. It is a little discolored. And then this is a bucket bag. This is the GM Market Tote in, it's either in Clemence or I think this might be Buffalo or Clemence. I'm not too sure. It's actually fairly light, so I don't think it's Clemence. So it might be Buffalo in a beautiful blue color. I honestly don't use it that much because I also have a Louis Vuitton Epi Noe, which is about basically the same size as this, that I end up using a little bit more. But I do like this bag. I like the color a lot. Maybe I'll start using it a little bit more this summer. And then I have this trio of small brown bags that I honestly don't use very much, starting with my birth year Falco Elan clutch. So I did talk about this in my Hermes spa video, where I did get this spa because it is my birth year. Which makes it more than 40 years old at this point. And even though I'm not really a clutch person, I just feel like I don't think I'll ever find anything specifically in my birth year. If I do, maybe I'll sell this one, but for now I have it in my collection. And this is also in chocolate box, but this one's not cracking actually. And I don't know what year this is, so I'll have to take a look. But it is another type of clutch. But the nice thing about this clutch is that it does have a shoulder strap, which makes it so much more useful if I really wanted to use it. And the strap is removable, so I could use it just as a clutch. But I wouldn't recommend it. Actually, I wouldn't take it off and on because, again, I said this is made out of box, and because it is old, if you're like yanking the straps in and out, it is going to crack the box leather of the straps. I don't know the name of this bag, so if anybody knows the name of this from Hermes, I would love to get some intel, because I actually did do a search on this as well as a Google image search, and I couldn't find anything about it. I got this, I think, for a fairly good deal, so I kind of went for it, even though now I sort of have 2 box clutches, brown box clutches, and I don't really use either of them. This is another brown bag, not a clutch. It is a shoulder bag, which can also be extended to a crossbody bag. It's called the Burlingo. And this one's made out of canvas with, I think, Swift. No, this is box, with box trim, also in the color like chocolate. I did have a Burlingo MM. So this is the PM size. This is a much smaller size. I did have the MM in Rouge Ash in, I think it was Buffalo, but it was heavy. It was very heavy. It might even have been Fjord. But anyways, either way, it was too heavy for me. As much as I like kind of like the very simple look and style of it, and the fact that it's one of the few vintage bags that could be both a crossbody and shoulder bag, I ended up selling it to the Real because it was just too heavy. And it was, especially as a crossbody, it was a lot bulkier. I thought this canvas and the PM size would be a lot better for me because one, it's much lighter, and two, you know, it isn't as bulky. However, I find that I don't really use this bag at all. Maybe it's a little too boring, but I never reach for it. Honestly, this might be on its way out. I don't know if you're going to see this in the next video, but we'll see. All right, so it looks like we're getting towards the end here. Now I'll be talking about basically all the bags I got so far in 2026, which isn't a lot. So first up is the So Kelly 22. I actually might have gotten this at the end of 2025. It is in Swift Blue Nude, probably. Or Blue Indigo. I think it's Blue Nude. I actually really love the look of this bag, but when I talked about it in my Battle of the Big Bucket Bags video, it doesn't stay on my shoulder. So I then looked it up, did a little research, and I purchased this. It's like, I'll put the name down below. I got it off of Amazon, but it's basically a sticky silicone pad that's going to help grip. If you have bags that slip off your shoulder, that's what this is for. But the sticky part is super sticky, and I put a little bit of it, I like stuck it just for a brief second on this handle, and when I took it off right away, and it basically just took off the paint. So I was like, ooh, that's not good. It was just a little small portion. I was kind of testing it out. So that's why I do have this twilly tied around here. And then I was trying to get it so that I tied the twilly, and then I have the silicone pad on the twilly, but the twilly just becomes untied like this, like all the time. And it flips, and you know, it's not great. It's really a bummer that I have a hard time keeping this on my shoulder. I don't know what it is, but it just doesn't want to stay. It's been a little bit of a hassle, and I don't even like the look of this, how it kind of looks like that. So in all honesty, I'll probably be selling this. I don't know, but it's such a beautiful bag. I just love the way it feels. Of course, the So Kelly look is, you know, back in because it was shown on the runway. It was also on my worst cost per wear video, which is why I made this effort to try to wear it, but it hasn't been going well. This was actually my first unboxing of 2026. I did do a separate review on this because someone had asked, but this is the Yo bag in gold buffalo leather with, I think, Berenia trim. Yeah, this bag has no problem staying on my shoulder. The only thing about this bag is when it's full of stuff, it tends to dip like this, which means the zipper is a little bit harder to pull. But, you know, it's not terrible. I mean, between the two, honestly, I know the So Kelly is like more attractive, but the Yo bag is just so much more practical for me. Especially since this is such a long bag. I also forgot to mention, like, you really have to get your hand down and, you know, root around in the bottom. It's not as practical as sort of this bag where, you know, everything's sort of easy to see, especially since there's zippers on both sides, so you can just open it up and whichever side is closer to you. Last but not least is my Her bag 31 in vibrato, and as you can see, I have my own strap. I also have an organizer in here. This is also on my worst cost per wear video, but I mean, it's also the newest addition to my Hermes collection. It is a hassle to open and close, I admit. So honestly, for the most part, I carry it open. I just carried it like this. I don't even bother doing this flap. Sometimes I don't even bother doing this, and it stays. It doesn't really like open because the opening is not that big. I love the blue, the green, the purple, and I just love the feel of it. I have yet to turn it inside out. I know I keep talking about it. I will do it, but I am actually pretty used to carrying it just like this nowadays. So it is on the heavy side because it is vibrato, is, you know, strips of leather glued together. So it is quite heavy for a Her bag. At least compared to the canvas ones that they usually make it in. I did also unbox the Her bag mini, the 20, which was kind of cute, but I think mine was defective because the thing just fell off. The leather tab itself looked like it was like cut short, which, I mean, quality control for Hermes, I don't know, that's not great. But in the end, I returned it because it was a little too small. Like, I really couldn't carry most of my essentials. These are my 3 newest in my collection. Of course, all vintage luxury here. But yes, I think that's it. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about any of these bags or would like a specific review that I haven't already done, please put it down below. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.